let me tell you a story. For the last month, I have been in one of those reading slumps that is incredibly annoying. When you are so excited to be able to start reading so many books that you have been wanting to read for years, sometimes weeks, months, and you finally get in the mood to read them, but you are very hyper about every single book that you have ever been excited to read, and all of a sudden you cannot read 10 pages of one book without thinking about the other 4 or 3 books that you also want to read. And so you are just book hopping, and you are literally reading books from every single genre. You are reading from fantasy, you are reading just romance, you are reading monster romance, you are reading sci-fi, you are reading continuations to series, you are reading new books that you have never from the authors you have never read before, and you are just even the ones that grabbed my attention. For example, King of Pride. After a week, I read 150 to 100 pages. After a week. It's very tiring, it's very frustrating, it gets you nowhere. And all of a sudden, you get this brilliant idea to start a book that's over 1,000 pages, and you're like, look, I have to give epic fantasy a try, right? Maybe this is what I need. Maybe this is what I need. But you are totally expecting to stop reading in 20 pages or so. Well, I'm on page 220. I started reading this 3 days ago. So, yes, I guess this was exactly what I needed. I don't know what to tell you. I have to go to work now. I just wanted to start this vlog thingy. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just needed to begin this thing, and bye. While it is way too hard to function properly, I read a bit more, 20 pages more. Dalinar and his son, I just saw his name, Adeline. They are the new POV characters now. I've heard a lot about Dalinar. Dalinar, I was actively waiting for Dalinar to be a thing. Finally, I'm intrigued, but I want a battlefield. They are on the hunt for big crabs, and that's not bad. I'm just can we meet? Can we be sharing a battlefield, please? I really want them to just cross a bridge. You don't have to have an actual interaction, but I'll be oh my god. Don't eat my glasses. Oh my god, can you believe it? It has been a whole day, maybe 2. I honestly have absolutely no notion of the time passing at this point, and I'm only now having time to update you on The Way of Kings. And yes, it's 10 p.m. because of course it is. It's a signature of mine at this point. No. What can I tell you about The Way of Kings? First of all, I lost my page. I had a pen and I opened it exactly on the page that I was in, 269. It's not much, but it's honest work. What? So I'm on part 2, but I haven't actually talked to you about part 1 yet. Some people really shit on the first chapters of this book, right? Because it has false starts, these interludes. The interludes, I love the interludes. it's a criticism that I can understand, right? But at the same time, like, maybe because maybe I'm just very interested, or as interested as I am, because I already knew about them. Like, I already knew they were coming. I already knew that the characters in these chapters are like not. I already knew Kaladin was a slave. I already knew that he had trained to be not a surgeon, like a healer. Like, I knew all of that coming in, and I already knew that the first chapters were not actually like our main characters, right? However, like, they just seem very interesting to me. So the first chapter is are those who are those? Like, I don't know what the shards are, but they probably have to do with the 10 guys that we met, right? Well, we didn't meet them. We met 2 of them. But this is very, very hard. I'm tired. Is this the best time? It is the best time, actually. Yes, it is. It is. This is the best time I have to speak, and it doesn't feel like oh my god, Shiko. He loves to dig my plant pots, especially after I have watered them. Like, he really likes the wet dirt, and I don't really appreciate it. Like, he's a cutie, but I don't appreciate it. Can I multitask? I don't think I can. Oh my god, that hurts. Stop. Those guys are immortal, right? Those guys are basically gods. Are they basically gods? I'm pretty sure they are basically gods. Like, that's my understanding of the situation. Just don't uproot my plants. That's all I ask of you. I'm sorry. You cannot have one of those and, like, ignore them. He wants to play. I'm sorry. Later. Who? I don't remember any of those guys' names. I'm so sorry. The whole thing with the first chapter was like, they had to go back. Kalak. Like, he had to go back. And, like, one of them was sent back. Who was it? Ishar? No. Talanel was sent to the dead. Like, he was not sent to the dead, but, like, he was killed. But, like, he was not killed because they don't die. But it looks like he went to, like, a version of hell, right? But, like, the other ones didn't. They didn't. They are just, they didn't. Like, they didn't leave their swords. Heralds, that's what they were. Heralds. Are these guys the guys from the different worlds? Like, is one of these 10... I was going to say the Lord Ruler. Not the Lord Ruler, like the bad entity from the Well of Ascension, if you get my gist. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm spoiling anyone. I don't remember. Like, look, as I was reading this, and I was, like, reading the beginning of the chapters, and, like, someone is sending a message, right? And, like, you are reading a little bit of the message as the chapters go. And I had, like, this immense urge to just, like, come back to my home because I was at work. Yes, I was reading at work. And, like, I just wanted to go open the books and be like, what was your name? What was your name? I feel like I need to reread the... I feel like I need to reread The Well of Ascension and Hero of Ages, which I haven't finished. I'm like 200 pages away from finishing. I feel like that entity that is, like, manipulating stuff is one of these, like, 10 at the beginning. Like, it has to be, right? It is, right? And, like, if I read other Cosmere books, like, in different planets, that's what that is, right? Because I feel like I'm right, but I have only read almost the whole first era of Mistborn and almost 300 pages of the Rhythm of War, the Way of Kings. So I cannot just go and look for explanations. Like, I cannot do that. I'm like, I already know too much. Not that I understand what I know, but like, I already know too much. Oh my god, I am intrigued more about the whole thing rather than like the mysteries they are sprinkling in this book. The second one was Seth. Seth, I cannot remember if I know someone else like that, because I know a Seth, right? And I think, but like the Seth that I know is not the Seth. They just share a name, kinda. I don't remember how the spelling was, but ooh, his chapters are amazing. I have only read 2 because he has interludes. At this point, he has only had like the second interlude and then the third interlude before the second part. Meow. And his chapters make me feel stuff, right? He is a something, not a sand. What are you, my dude? Why don't you make my life easier? He basically, his people just follow orders, right? He's not a parchment, he's not a shin, he's a shin. And like, they have like this stone that is basically like their oath stone or whatever it was, like that he called it, that basically whoever holds that stone is their master and they cannot say no. The only 2 times they can refuse an order if the order is like to take their own lives, they cannot do that. And if they want to take away their shard blade, because Seth has a shard blade. I really need to, can I get, is this character going to be more prevalent? Because to be honest, to me the most interesting character is Seth. Like, he's so cool. Like, and the ending, or Zeth, is Zeth how you pronounce that? I'm sorry, but like this, the ending of the second chapter with him gave me chills. Like, I had my skin all raised up because someone else got a hold of his stone, right? And he was like, I must tell you that as long as you have that, you are my master. And they're like, what does that mean? Well, it means that you can ask anything of me. You'll do anything. What are you going to have the man do? Oh my god, what are you going to do that he cannot say no? He cannot say no. And like, there's this whole thing that he's like, he thinks like his whole purpose is to live to suffer. And I'm like, my dude, please stop. Oh my god, it's here. I underlined it. He had to preserve himself so that he could suffer. Paragraph. Boy, are you okay? Why is that a thing? Are you okay? I just spent a whole lot of time talking about this character that only has appeared twice, but like, he's so cool. I'm sorry, he's very interesting. But like, the main characters, right? Kaladin, his chapters are the most interesting. Like I count the pages until I have another Kaladin chapter. I get really bummed out when the chapter is a flashback. I don't like reading flashbacks. Like, to me, a flashback could be like 2 or 3 pages, and I would be like, okay, because you're not actively taking me out of the storyline for long. But like, these chapters are long. Like, they are over 10 pages. This one is like 15 or something. Can you not? Like, I don't care. I know it's important for the character, but like, can you not
Can you not, please? I don't want to read about that. I want to hear about him dealing with bridges. I want to learn more about Bridge 4. Bridge 4, I already love it. I already love this thing. And I don't know why, I just love it. Because I know why, because it's such a hopeless place. It's such a hopeless situation. And I know things are going to get better, and I really need to know. I need to know. I need to see it. I really want to see it happen. And every time they stop me from watching it happen, I get so mad about it. In the first part, I got so irritated whenever Shalane had a chapter. She didn't have many chapters. I think she had 5 chapters in the first part, and they didn't add much. Not really. Like, they added the Soulcaster that can turn basically anything into something else, and I honestly think that is a world building issue. I don't think it should exist. And I'm intrigued to know why the hell women like started hiding one of their hands. Like, why is the safe hand a thing? Why is it called safe hand? Why? Where did that come from? Why is that a thing? I don't know. I want to know why, because not knowing is actually like bothering me. I didn't think it would, because this was something I already knew about it. This was something. These 2 things were things I already knew about the world, and I was like, that won't bother me. Like, it's bothering me. Why? How does the economy work with the Soulcaster? If you can turn anything into anything else, that. But I'm only 269 pages in, so moving on. I don't care about Shalane. I didn't like her. I didn't like that, like, she's so desperate to have like this apprenticeship or whatever with the woman, but as soon as the woman said something, like, she insinuated that she wasn't capable of something, she immediately started having an attitude. Like, I'm sorry. Do you want this apprenticeship with this woman? Are you trying to please her? Are you trying to make her like you? Or are you going to lose your manners like that as soon as she like insinuates that you're not capable of something? Like, I'm starting to, it makes, like, she's talking about like saving her kingdom as if like that's the most important thing in her life. But well, if someone just suggesting that you're not like the best at something makes you immediately like forget about it, and then it cannot be such a dire situation, right? It diminishes it, right? So like, I guess her heart is not in it. I guess. More characters. Dalinar is the Dalinar was the character I was the most excited about, because I heard so much about him, but like actually didn't know anything. I was aware, like, I always forgot, but whenever someone like brought the fact that he's a father, I was like, oh yeah, he's a father. Yeah, he's a father to Adeline. Adeline actually has more POVs right now than Dalinar. The Shard Blades. Dalinar's Shard Blade is called Oathbringer. And I had a whole like freak out about it because the 3rd book is called Oathbringer. Why did I freak out? I don't know. I just thought that's a big thing. Like, when you don't know anything, like when you don't understand stuff, like, you just start seeing things that like share names and might be connected, and you immediately start to lose your shit. I got really excited about understanding that Oathbringer is the name of the blade. I can't explain that beyond like I recognized it, and so I got excited about it. That's it. Eleanor is kind of getting old, and he's not in action, like doing warrior stuff as much, and that really bothers Adeline. Well, part of it is because he blames himself for the death of his brother. But like, it's also like the man is getting old. Well, I'm guessing it's a lot of stuff. And I don't think that the getting old is like because he physically cannot. It's just like he's more mature. He doesn't actually want to be fighting all the time, right? He's not a young man like in love with the idea of being a war hero or anything. Unlike his son. Like, my last comment on the book was about that, I believe. Yeah. Adeline is basically like just moping about how he wants his father to go back to his good old days where everyone like respected him to be, because he was the legendary knight, right? The Blackthorn or whatever. The line is, Adeline wanted that man back. The kingdom needed him. So I just underlined it and wrote, become him then. Like, so what I'm hoping for is that Adeline like realizes that if he wants glory in his family, maybe he should do it. Like, that's the only control he has of it, right? His actions are the only ones he can actually control. So don't stop trying to make your father a war hero again. You become a war hero then, right? And honestly, there's nothing much happening yet. Like, it's still like percentage wise very early on. It's like 20%. I'm 20% in basically. And although a lot has happened, not much has happened. Like, everyone is in the exact same set, like the setting, the place that they started the book in, except of course Kaladin, right? He started off as a warrior. He's not a warrior anymore. I am dying to know when Kaladin and Kaladin are going to meet for the first time. Like, did I say this the last update? At this point, I just want like Dalinar to be in the battlefield, like not necessarily the battlefield, but like the war camp, and for Kaladin to be like, oh yeah, Dalinar. That's all I need. At this point, I would be so happy with that crossover. And there's nothing much else to say at this point, honestly. Bye.
Yo, okay. Yo. As I was coming back to work after lunch, I got myself listening to the audiobook, right? The audiobook. And we are now currently in the middle of a discussion between Dalinar and Zaidias about whether the bridgeman and the bridge system that Zaidias has going on is ethic and worth it, and like, is the sacrifice like of all of these men like really a necessity when there are other options. And like, I don't believe this is going to happen, but I want Zaidias to actually be a bridgeman, like, just for once. Just go be a bridgeman once, just once. Because let me tell you, the first time, like the first chapter that the bridgemen were a thing, right? The first bridgeman experience that Kaladin had was already like, oh my god, this is fucking brutal. Oh my god. I like Dalinar. And I want at least, do we at least get like Kaladin to punch Zaydius in the face? Like, please? I'm offended for them, for the bridgemen. Like, Jesus. So, I've had one of the busiest weeks of my life. So I managed to read 100 pages more. I'm on page 404. Only 850 to go. Nothing much has happened. I just wanted to check in. Also, I'm gonna get a new tattoo in a week, so I'm guessing by the time I get a tattoo, I haven't finished the book yet, so you are so gonna watch that? You are so gonna watch that. Okay, so I'm on my lunch break. Ooh. And I read 20 pages more. Turns out that's all I had to read before I had actual thoughts. The king, Elhokar. Can someone kill him? Can someone kill him? I don't like that king. He's not fit to be king yet. It's actually a fantasy pet peeve of mine. Like, every time someone kills the king and oh kitty so pretty. Oh what was I saying? Every time someone kills the king and then like their son ascends to power, they're never fit to be king. Like, never. Like, how many times have we seen a fantasy book where like someone kills the king and then the person that goes to the throne is like ready in any way, shape or form? Like, I'm trying to get my lunch ready and like all I can think about is how mad at Elhokar I am. Basically, he publicly announced that he does not trust Dalinar and gave a very high and powerful title to Zaydius. And like, I don't trust Zaydius. Like, they are constantly telling us to trust Zaydius, so I don't trust Zaydius. That's just how it works. I don't trust Zaydius. And like, I have fish left over, so that's why the cats are like losing it. Like, it's the typical power, the typical fight for power in between the nobles. Like, it always happens. It's perfectly normal. And Adolin, Dalinar's son, is like constantly not trusting Zaydius. Zaydius used to be a best friend of Dalinar, and like Dalinar is saying that Hello Kitty plate, and he trusts Zaydius to keep the king safe. Like, it's the only thing he actually trusts him to be able to do. I don't. I trust him to keep the kingdom somewhat safe. Like, I trust the nobles to do what they think is the best for the kingdom. And given how incompetent the king is, to me that means I trust him to take the power for himself. Not necessarily kill the king. You don't need to kill the king in order to have absolute control of the kingdom. You just have to be good at manipulating him. And he just got a very, very high, powerful title that had been those powerful places had been nullified because they were so powerful. And he got himself the title of a position that didn't exist anymore. And like, Dalinar is the king's uncle, and he trusted someone else over his uncle. because he's actively like thinking that his uncle is against him. It's obvious, and like I don't like him. I trust Dalinar. I think he might be doing some mistakes because he seems... One thing, you know, like you learn in dark fantasy, I don't say this is dark, but like it's not light fantasy, is that the good people never survive. The good people, like they are going to be broken down, because like there's no way they can like have a good stable life if they are just good. So something has to happen, something has to go very wrong in Dalinar's plotline before everything goes right. They just keep... Stop eating my fish. Okay. Hi. It's very late. I'm on page... I finished part 2. I'm on page 542. I'm almost at the middle. That reading was very intense, okay? I did a little research and I asked some people, and I was told to read Warbreaker before I read Words of Radiance, and to read Warbreaker definitely before Oathbringer. So, okay, I already ordered... Oh, I have makeup on. I'm tired. And you know what? This lighting is disgusting. Oh. Is this better? No, it's not better. I ordered Oathbringer. No, not Oathbringer. Warbreaker. As Kaladin was like playing around with his spear. Well, not his spear, the spear of a dead man. And the rest of Bridge 4 were just like... You don't know what is happening. I have a cat playing with my hair. You crazy boy. And Bridge 4 was just completely entranced looking at him, like... And Kaladin finally, like, kind of gave a clue to Teft and Rock. Like, Teft said something after watching him like do the stances with the spear about how he could totally like win a battle with a shard bearer, and he was like, I have already tried that, and I decided not to take the offer. And like both Teft and Rock already know that he is a slave because he killed a man and didn't take the prize for it. So they were like, oh, are you implying that? And I was like, okay. So I stopped, I closed the book, I went online, I ordered the book, I kept reading. And so after that, we have like this very nice, although a little bit long, chapter of Dalinar, where he's considering leaving his title as the High Prince. He's thinking about passing the title on to his son, Adeline. And the queen, the king's mother, was like, that's a grave mistake you're making. And I ship them. Oh my god, I ship them. Do they end up together? Because like I need them to end up together. I have a feeling that Dalinar is not going to be alive for long. Like the third book is called Oathbringer. Like, he must die on the third, right? He must die on the third, or maybe in Words of Radiance, and like at the very end. So Oathbringer is like, because Oathbringer is the title of the book. Like, that's not a coincidence. Like that, unless it's Dalinar's book. Well, it could be Dalinar's book, and he would die at the end. Well, anyways, I'm reading the interludes, and I'm scared because I went to see like how many pages I had to read before I got to the actual beginning of part 3. And like, part 3 is called Dying, and we only have chapters from Dalinar and Shallan. Dalinar, from Kaladin and Shallan. And I don't know. What do you mean? What about... First of all, I don't want to read about Shallan. I really, really want to read about Kaladin. Kaladin is the only one I want to read about. About him and Seth. I have another kitty playing around here. But you know what? You know what I'm going to do? Tomorrow is like a national holiday thingy. So I was here like very delusioned, thinking that I was going to like be reading a mini reading marathon sprint thingy. My cats are like literally just jumping around. And here I was thinking that I was going to stay up like late, like crazy 3 a.m. reading moments. I thought it was 2 a.m. already. It's not 11. It's not p.m. It's not 11 p.m. yet. And look at how I'm not making any sense talking because I'm way too tired. Ugh. I think I'm going to like be making a snack and be preparing myself to take a nice long warm bath with a snack, and I'm going to be taking my book with me because I want to at least finish Shallan's chapter. Oh no. I was like, I want to finish Shallan's chapter because I want to know that when I wake up, when I go reach my book, I'll have a Kaladin chapter. It's a flashback. I don't like reading about flashbacks. But after that, I have Kaladin like normal, normal timeline. Kaladin. I can't. I need to sleep. I need to sleep. So I'm guessing see you tomorrow or something like that. I keep meaning to like update you on Dog of Kings. We are on page 790. We are very close to the ending of this book. Stuff has been happening. Kaladin, my man, is still the only one I want to care. Like, I want to read about. I care to read about. I only want to read Kaladin chapters. Shallan, very stupid. One of the religious people, the Ardent something Cabal or something, is like infatuated with her, but like, to me, he comes across a little bit like a creep. I don't like the man. I keep expecting him to like betray her, right? Because she trusts him. She trusts this random man way too much. Why do you trust this man to speak to him about stuff? I don't understand. But he finally, someone acknowledged that the Soulcaster is like the only reason why this empire that is not an empire, this kingdom, works, because they depend so much on it. And Shalane was like, "Oh, is that so? Yes, you are supposed to be smart. You are supposed to be smart. The food for the army is made with, like, the soulcaster. Um, honestly, I don't even understand why they are at war when they have a soulcaster, because we have seen Dashna use the ring, like the soulcaster, to just like turn a man into fire, not burn him, just gave the body in exchange for fire. So he just and turned into fire. So why not put her in the war camp? She doesn't have to come in contact with the enemies. She just has to look at them and go, and they could go into smoke. It makes no sense. Why are they at war when they have something like that? Why are the values of things are so fucked, and like nothing makes sense. How can things be expensive? What is even currency when you have things like that? It makes no sense. Anyways, I'm sure that is going to be like a big plot point further on, right? The army is not going to be able to work properly. That's what I thought was going to happen since they started talking about this, and like just explained that the only reason why the army is like are able to be constantly at war is because they can just have food for everyone all the time. And like they ration out the food. Speaking of which, they ration out the food for the bridgemen, because like who cares if they are well fed or not? They are just fodder, not cannon fodder, but you know, arrow fodder. Well, if it costs them a grain of sand to feed them, why the fuck not? Why ration out food? I don't understand. Makes no sense. Do you see the problems here? It makes no sense. They could just make incredible unbreakable armor for every single one of their soldiers from nothing. Well, from air. Like air can be traded. Basically, every time they mention the soulcaster, I get a little bit pissed, because I'm like, there's so ramifications to that. I cannot ignore them. I'm supposed to be ignoring them. Like, I understand that the point is that I don't see these things, or like if I see them, I just like, it's fine. And then when everything goes to shit, I'm going to be like, oh no, but like I cannot not see these things, okay? And it really bothers me. Kaladin, my boy though. Kaladin, on a different note, Kaladin, he's in the dumps. Oh my god. He finally did the cool thing with the bridges. Like, they used the bridge as a shield to save the man, and like everything went to shit. They lost the battle because all the other bridgemen tried to do the same, and they started like losing the bridges and letting them fall because Bridge 4 had training, the other ones didn't, and the enemy stopped shooting at them. They just went and focused on the army, the actual army behind them. And it was a shit show. And like, it was when it finally like dawned on Kaladin that like their job is to die. Their job is to just carry a bridge, and if the bridge falls, it's okay. They have one less bridge. They have more bridges than they actually need. They just need the arrows to go to waste. That's what they are there for. And so Kaladin is feeling very, very hopeless. He was beaten and hang up on the storm, like a flag, just on the winds. And he was in terrible, terrible shape. I guess Stormfather, because apparently Stormfather is a character, talked to him. And while he was healing, because he survived the storm, right? He's storm blessed because he survived the storm. Teft was like taking care of him to make sure no one killed him while he was healing up, because they all suspected that Sirius was probably going to try to kill him because, you know, he's way too, like, he's basically, they don't have a rebellion yet, but he is like obviously going to be a face of something to those bridgemen that are people that have absolutely nothing to lose. They could only like die, but like if they don't die from rebelling, well, they will die to arrows. So like, right? If you have one of them doing all of this shit and being storm blessed and all of that, like, they don't really want to risk that. I understand, makes sense, but I'm not on Sadia's side, so I'm like, fuck you, Sadius, come on, Kaladin, come on. And oh my god, I'm rambling. I didn't mean to actually like give a proper update right now, but I guess I'm doing it. Kaladin, my boy, like, he's feeling very like down because he just realized that no matter how much he tries to keep the bridgemen safe, like, he will never be able to like implement something across the board so the bridgemen all together like have better lives, because their purpose is to die. That's why they are bots. It's just to be killed. And so finally my Kaladin, he's like, okay, you know what? There's only one thing left. We only have one more option: to run away. And so they started planning like how to train, like to fight like some soldiers that will absolutely be after them if they succeed, and like mapping out stuff like to understand how they are going to escape from the battlefields through the chasm. I don't think that is going to happen because I have been spoiled. Of course I have. And Teft, my man, did I actually explain? No, I didn't. Oh, I'm so sorry. Teft, while he was guarding Kaladin while Kaladin was healing, he noticed that Kaladin like absorbed the light from the storm, right? They have like those orbs that they use for currency that they leave up charging outside during the high storms, and they are charged up with Stormlight. And like, he gave one to Kaladin and he absorbed that light. His wound started to heal, like he opened his eyes and they were glowing. And like Zeth's, right? Zeth's my actual favorite character, Zeth. He has only had 3 chapters right now. I don't give a shit. He's the best. Like, we only read from him when we need to, and it's chef's kiss. Second favorite though, Kaladin. And like, Teft knows something. He knows something. I don't know what he knows, but he knows something, and like, he wants to tell Kaladin because he is like Kaladin is probably like, he doesn't know what this means. And he doesn't like know like who to tell, because he said something about like there's no one else to tell because he killed him, and I don't know what is going on. I want to know. I have to go to lunch. This is my lunch break. I'm not lunching. I'm not eating. I'm talking book. See you, I don't know when. It's Monday. Not Monday, like, it's my first day of vacation. No, it's my first day back at work. A week has passed. I did not update you really because I didn't read much. I did not touch my book, The Way of Kings, at all. However, as I was getting my tattoo done, I planned on listening to the Way of Kings audiobook. My headphones were without battery, so like that was a no-go. So I grabbed my Kobo and I reread A Military Romance. And I read it from the beginning to the end. I started rereading the continuation, and then the tattoo was over, so that was that. I traded a book with a friend of mine because we met up, as you do with your friends, on vacation, and we traded some books. She's currently reading Harrow the Ninth because I got her to read The Locked Tomb. I love that series so much. It's amazing. Now I want to reread the whole thing, including Nona. Nona is coming out in paperback next week, so I will be getting it. And she gave me Flock. I don't know anything about that book, except that it's a reverse harem, and she did not like the book. So I think I will like the book in a very, like, this is shit, but like fun shit way. I only read 3 pages, and it's very dramatic. Very dramatic. So, yeah. I will update you as I'm having lunch, I guess. So I'm doing that like amazing thing where you just make the noodles and you eat them straight out of a pan because you don't feel like washing dishes after. But honestly, I feel like updating you. I just want to unbox my box. So first of all, Way of Kings. Am I on page 1000? No. 985. What happened? Dalinar and Zadius like unified their armies, and now Dalinar has saved Zadius. And like I'm just waiting for everything to go down because nothing crazily exciting has happened yet. And I feel like I could finish this book today. It would be like around 300 pages to finish this today, but like I feel like if I only could focus for long enough, I could totally do that. And maybe today I can. It depends. I had barely nothing to do at work, so I read like 20 pages there. It was great, it was good, but I don't know what is going to happen in the afternoon. This, however, is a book that I thought was not going to be here. No, I thought it was going to be here like around this week, at the beginning of the week, sure, but I thought I would be done with The Way of Kings by then. And I would have been done with The Way of Kings for a while if only I had read anything on vacation, but I did not. So let's not dwell on that. Yeah. So this is Warbreaker. The pretty UK edition of Warbreaker. I thought she was going to be way bigger on the cover. Anyways, the only reason my Way of Kings edition is not in these editions is because, well, I actually really like these covers. I think they are very cool. It's just one book, right? Which I would have to buy 2 individual books, which makes it like double the money for the same amount of book. And I cannot, no, absolutely not. And I know that the English version, like they have a bind-up, right? Just the Way of Kings, where instead of like a soldier on the cover, they have like sand. I guess that's supposed to be the Shattered Plains, but like it's not as sandy as it is the rocky, you know? But it's like 20 euros, and like this was 9, so that was all I had to know. I'm gonna finish my lunch, because you know, you gotta have lunch. Oh, I'm on my sofa, I'm trying to, okay, page 1000. First of all, milestone. Number 2, wheat is hard. Wheat is hard. Oh, that I was not expecting that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have seen Hoyt twice. In like once in Mistborn, and then another time in The Hero of Ages. And he's telling Kaladin a tale. And I'm assuming like this tale is going to be important for something, right? Like you don't just hear stories for nothing, you know, in this kind of stuff. Also, Kaladin, like Theft just made Kaladin like realize that he's absorbing Stormlight, and like he made a pouch stick to a barrel, right, on the side, and that was not on purpose. And then he tried to stick a rock to the wall. That was on purpose, and it worked. Ooh! And yeah, I was complaining about not having exciting things happening, so... But right now I have to stop and go get some stuff at the supermarket, and then I'm going to work. I want to keep reading though. Like every time I keep reading the book, I'm like, oh, I could spend the next few hours doing this, but like it's I feel like nothing much has happened, and I've read 1,000 pages, and it's like kind of complicated because the amount of people that have asked me like, so what's the book about? And I'm like, it's very complicated because like it's not a cohesive story, not yet at this point. Like I have a slave that has had high military and medical training. I have a warlord that is falling from grace. And I have someone like a scholar that doesn't understand how history works, trying to steal one of the most powerful economic tools in the whole empire, and it has never crossed her mind that that is going to bring the whole entire kingdom to fall. That's what the book is about. What has happened? Not much. We have just been living with that. That's it. I mean, Shallan has moved, actually. The murder attempt has been made, and I was like, just as that man, like Capsal, he was like giving her the bread, and she's like, this is strawberry jam. I was like, that's poison, right? And like he just keeps like going, try the jam. It's very rare. It's very expensive, which makes no sense. How can stuff be expensive with that economy? But anyways, and I'm like, that's poison. That's poison. That's poison. And it was poison. The bread had poison. The jam was the antidote. I did not think that. I thought like the jam was the poison, and I thought Capsal was going to like kill himself as well.
it was going to be like a suicide mission to kill someone, for reasons that I wasn't aware, but like I really thought that was that. It wasn't. It was just to try to kill, not the queen, the king's sister, Jasna. I always say Jasna, but I know it's Jasna. Anyways, I was like, quick update, and like this one is longer than the previous one. I'm a shut up. Do you want to close the story with me while I talk about the last 33 pages of The Way of Kings? I mean, why not? It's a very small update, right? Basically, I only finished Caladan's chapter, and then I read Dalinar chapter, where Hoyt finally finished with the song, and he was like, "I'm the king's wit no more." But like on the next chapter, in Dalinar's chapter, the king was like, "I have to find a new wit. This one doesn't make me laugh." And Sirius was like, what's wrong with this one? And he's like, he doesn't make me laugh. And like he vanished all of a sudden. He does that sometimes. He always comes back, but he doesn't make me laugh. I need to find a new one. And I'm like, he just vanished. Why? What's wrong? What's happening? What do you know? Wait. What does he know? He must know something. That's why he like appeared to Kaladin, and like he gave him the flute, and he sang that song to Kaladin about how people, as long as they can put the blame on other people, like for killing, people are okay. But as soon as they realize that it's on them, like that makes them struggle, not being able to shift the blame. Hoyt gave Kaladin the little flute, and he was like, "Say hi to my apprentice. Tell him he's graduated, and it's one of the bridgemen." And I'm like, "Oh, what's going on? Who the fuck are you and what do you know?" Because it was like, ooh, this one is not mine. No. It was a character that really didn't get that much screen time. I mean, he did get some, but like the things he said were not groundbreaking, right? He didn't stand out as much as Theft. Sigzil? That one. But regardless, after that conversation, Kaladin returns to the camp, and he goes talk to Theft, and he's like, "Yo, tell you about everything you know about like this radiant magic shit." And the chapter ends. And then we have the Dalinar chapter where he's talking to Zarius and the king, Eldakard. It's not Alucard, but it's similar. Eldakard. You know who it's the king. He's talking to the king about a passage in The Way of Kings where he finally like can explain like that the book is not all bullshit, right? Because like they heard everything about that part of history. It was the talk about it used a passage that was shown before in the chapter header about how they walked the path in between two cities,
And like the point was a point that he had tried to illustrate before to the king and Sadie's as well, that it's basically journey before destination. Like, I know that's like a very big theme in this book, right? You are not wise for getting to the destination, you are not better for getting to the destination. You get all of that by taking the path and like going through the things you are asking other people to go through as well. And the king is a lost case. Like, the king is either going to be the villain or he's about to get killed like real soon. That's like one of the two options like I have. He's not gonna be the good guy, right? We are totally not going to fight for this king. Like, maybe the characters will, but like we the readers, we are so not on that king's side. It's ugh. But basically, let me organize my thoughts for a second. Okay, what was I saying? So the king missed the point. However, Zadius, and this is what I really distrust Zadius ever since he protected us, Dalinar, because I'm like, oh, you are doing this, so like, we trust you. So you can like do stuff, and the main characters are not going to look very closely into this. And I am fully expecting Zadius to betray us now. Right? So Zadius, after Dalinar explains this passage of the Way of Kings, he's like, you know, that's not my thing. I don't see myself in that. However, I respect you as a man and a soldier, and I see how this would resonate with you. Right? And so they confront Dalinar once again about how he claims not to be a coward, but he keeps talking about peace and how he longs for peace. And like, in this, the way this kingdom's culture is all worked, and like how it has been developed, it's like a man, a soldier, a high prince is only valuable because of the contributions he makes to war. So everyone sees him as a coward because he's not constantly at war, he's not constantly in battle, he keeps not engaging, people like insult him and he does nothing, when in their culture it would be the only acceptable response would be to respond with aggressiveness, right? And so Dalinar explains like what he would do. If he could give the command, he would take all the 10 princes to the capital and not abandon the Shattered Plains. He would find a way to have that still be part of their kingdom. However, like, he would focus on other stuff other than war. He would keep looking into the king's assassination and like why they did it, instead of like, let's make them pay, let's try to understand why they did it first. Because killing the Pashandi doesn't actually do much, right? And I fully expected Elhokar, the king, to question his loyalty as he has done before. Every time Dalinar would suggest that he would not make the choices Elhokar is making, he would look at Dalinar like, do you think I'm not a good king? do you want me as a king? Would you have me on the throne? Right? He would constantly like be very suspicious of Dalinar. And now he just thought, oh, that's a very good point you make. Why didn't you say it before? And I'm like, I don't trust this sudden change of heart. And the sudden change of heart was not addressed by Dalinar. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. This is weird. He took it too well. And Sadeas was like, maybe you should send me someone to read that book to me. Right, The Way of Kings. And I'm like, I don't trust that. I don't trust that. Sadeas has absolutely talked to Eldacar, and they are both trying to fuck this up. I don't trust this. I don't trust this. I don't trust this at all. I'm kind of nervous for them. So Dalinar and Sadeas have united their forces, right? And Sadeas has finally given the final push to make Dalinar agree to use his bridges. So the bridges are going to come, then Sadeas' army, and then Dalinar's army, right? It was like a compromise, like, you will not have your men carry bridges, like, my men will carry their bridges for me, and you will simply use the bridges that are already in place. And I don't trust this for a single second. I don't trust this. What are they trying to... This is weird. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. There's like something that he wants to paint Dalinar in a bad light. He absolutely does. And now I think that the next bridge run that we are going to have is going to be like the bridge run, right? The battle that is going to be like the big battle of this book. And I have been speculating this for the last two battles, like the one before. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It was from Dalinar's, Kaladin's POV, and he saw Dalinar's banner, and he even like talked about how Dalinar's army looks more well presented and more serious in what they are doing, and they carry themselves like soldiers, right? And I just kept expecting them to like meet. And the one before, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember being like, is this the big battle? And now every time there's a battle, I'm like, is this the big battle? But they are all constantly battling, and but there's 200 pages to finish the book, so we must be close to that big battle, right? We do. Now it's very, very hot in my car without AC, so that's all I had to say about the last few pages I read. It was quite a lot, actually. So yeah, see you tomorrow, I guess. The final battle is not here yet. There's 150 pages left in the book. And there must be a final battle incoming, right? I'm starting to doubt it. You are currently inside my shelf. I did say that Sadeas was just too willing. And he was like talking about how it would be just amazing. The tower would be amazing to get the Pashandi trapped. And I was like, well, you might get trapped,
So I am not surprised. I finally got to the climax of the story. It only took 1,125 pages. Let's go. Let's go. Well, I guess I care. I did not think that like the revelation of exactly how Kaladin's brother died would hit, because like I don't care about Tien, but I do care about Kaladin. So, hi. So, a few days ago, I finished reading The Way of Kings. I gave it 4 stars. Now, the last 100 pages were very good. The last 50 pages were great, right? And that's the reason why this book is 4 stars. Otherwise, like, if not for those last 100 pages, this would have been a 3-star book. Okay, like I did have to read 1,100 pages of nothing happening before I got to the good part. Like, I did talk with my uncle around page 900, and he asked me what this massive book that I was reading was about. And I turned to my father, I looked at him, and I laughed. And I looked back at my uncle, and I said, I am going to tell you what I told my father on page 50 of this book. This is about a slave that is trying to find hope and like trying to live with his current situation in life. This is about a warlord that is struggling being a warlord. He just wants peace. And about a scholar that does not understand anything at all, although she is said to be very, very smart. So in these 1,100 pages, I felt like nothing was happening. Not really. No big things, right? Yet somehow I was not bored, which is surprising. I do have to say that I finally liked a Shallan chapter. Like, her last 2 chapters were very interesting. It was the first time I read a Shallan chapter. Actually, I read 2 Shallan chapters on a row, and I felt like none of them had to be cut out. Nothing of them had to be cut out, which that was the first time I felt that in this entire book. Right? I am actually very excited. I remember being like around the middle of the book and like knowing that Words of Radiance were mostly about her, and being like, oh, I am not excited for Words of Radiance. I'm really not, because what do I really have to be excited about? Nothing. Like, girl is giving me nothing except dumbness. Right? But the last 2 chapters did make a difference. Those really did make a difference. I am actively now, like, I already have Workbreaker. I started reading Warbreaker. That's Lipstick. I'm on page 4. Words of Radiance is on the mail. Like, it's coming to me. It's coming to my house. And I actually do want to spend more time with Shallan, which I never thought I was going to say that about her, but I am.
Another thing about Chelan's chapter, and I will never like let this go, is that Sanders, okay, I understand, like I could excuse making a character kind of like not think about something because it's so natural for them, they don't really think about how important that thing is. But Sanderson having that chapter where a man like is trading a full cart of metal for a few chickens, and the man that is like trading for the chickens for all that iron is like, how can you do this? Do you understand the treasure you have? And the man is like, these mean nothing to me. These are worthless to me. These are made of sand and little shells from the beach. And I'm like, yes. Yes, yes, that's the entire problem here. Oh my god. Ooh, let's not talk about this because I get really heated about this. Like their economy is completely fucked. It makes no sense. I really did not appreciate Sanderson just like giving us all of this, and like pretending it's not a problem. Like I am actively waiting for him to like properly make their economy just fall. If it does not happen in this entire book series, I will be mad about it. So moving on. Dalinar is kind of daddy. Dalinar is kind of daddy. Yeah, like not the whole book. I don't really appreciate a person that is like really grabbing onto a religious. The Way of Kings is not a religious text, but like grabbing onto a text and like viewing it as like a guide to how to behave. I do not appreciate that in a person, and I really like did not connect with him at all. But when he finally like realizes that The Way of Kings was written in a society that is already unified and is already at peace, and he is not like the society he's in is not there yet, so he cannot act like so. For now, he has to be the warlord that he is. He needs to be the warlord. Peace will come after that. That was a daddy moment. One of the best moments, right? Besides like Bridge Run going and saving Dalinar's army, that was a great chapter. That was amazing. That was honestly great. I love that. But right after that, Dalinar like just keeping his cool while talking to Zadius, and like, oh, yes, I guess you just had to retreat your troops, of course. I'm just going to go and have a chat with the king, and he just destroys the guy. Ooh, that felt so good. Oh my god, when he just went to the king and he like started beating that kid up, and like he shattered his blade, he shattered his armor. It was fucking amazing, and he had no like shard plate or shard blade. I'm really intrigued by that whole thing. Why did Seal dislike them? Why does Seal dislike those? What are they and why are they a problem? I do not understand, but I really want to understand. And how is he going to like keep going without any shard anythings? I am so excited about it. I'm really excited for Words of Radiance, okay? What was I even saying? Oh yes, and like the king, going back to when he's beating the king up, and the king is calling for the guards, and Dalinar is like, call them all you want, they are my men, and I gave them orders to not enter here, even if you are begging and screaming for help. Oh, that was amazing. Oh, that was great. And look, I kept forgetting that Dalinar had another child, right? Besides Adelim, he has, what's his name? right? And what's his name? At the very beginning of the book, I think I spotted a foreshadowing, and I don't know if it's a foreshadowing or if it's just something that Sanderson is putting on there, and he might or might not use it for something big at the end, at the series, right? And there's this line where Dalinar is looking at his other son. I should check his name. Wait a second. Rerenin. Renerin. I read Rerenin all this time. Renerin. Okay. What was I even saying? Oh, there was this like scene where he was looking at Renerin. I already forgot the name. And he's just thinking about how when Dalinar was younger, he did resent his brother for just being more than he was, more powerful, more important, getting what he wanted all the time, while Dalinar was just there. And he feared that Renerin would feel the same towards Adolin. And like, he never really touched that again. But towards like the end of the book, where he's like coming to terms with being like just being who he is, he does mention that he almost killed his older brother to take the throne, and he was scared of who he might have been. And in my head, this just means that Renerin is going to be the person his father feared to have become. Did that thought make sense? Yeah. That's a theory that I want to see happen. Like, I actually want to see. Like, he promised his son that the next shard blade or whatever that he won on war, he was going to give to his son. And I'm like, are we going to be armoring this man just so he can turn on his family at the end? That would be cool, right? That would be very cool. I cannot wait to see Kaladin as a royal guard interacting with Adolin. I really want to see Adolin and Kaladin interacting. I feel like they are going to have like very short interactions filled with just distaste. Like, they are so not going to like each other, but I like to think that maybe they will respect each other, even though they do not like one another. Speaking of Kaladin, my boy is great. Kaladin was the best character in this book. I mean, it was his book, right? So sure, he was the best character. Him, Zeth, and who else did I love? Dalinar, but like, Dalinar was not as consistently great as Kaladin or Zeth. Ooh, Zeth was great. Ooh, and Wit, that is not Wit, is Hoyd. Ooh, okay. Do not get ahead of yourself. Kaladin, my boy. The last clip I showed you of me just crying over Kaladin, like just hugging his brother's corpse and then just staying there until night fell with his cold body, and then like coming back to the moment of the war, like, wait, and just no, this time is going to be different. This time this is different. I'm a different man. I am with different soldiers, and there's hope. And it did make me cry. It was great. I love Bridge 4. I did not think I would love Bridge 4, but I like Bridge 4. They are the army slaves, and they formed a little found family.
in there, and it's just great. I loved it, and I cannot wait to see them all just in uniform, just serving Dalinar. Oh fuck, I cannot wait. I really want to read Words of Radiance, fuck. But I have been told that I really should read Warbreaker before that, so Warbreaker it is. Continuing on Breach 4 though. That last moment we had with them where like Kaladin has his new uniform in his arm and he goes to Breach 4's like little house, barrack thingy, and he's expecting to find the man just sleeping. But no, they are all just having like a little beer by the fire basically, and they are dead tired and they are hurt and they are all bandaged up, but they were like, they felt like they needed to have that moment, and they're all just laughing and having a great time, and it's just, ooh, that made me emotional. Ooh. It was just very good. I like that a lot. I want to see more Breach 4. I feel like someone on Breach 4 is going to betray us. Yeah, I trust them too much, so I think they'll betray us at one point. I fully believe that. I fully believe that. Oh, the epilogue. Oh, I really was about to not talk about the epilogue, how he's in Kholinar, right? Dalinar's princedom. And like this man just appears with a shard blade, and he's like, the man paused. He raised his hand to the head, wavering. Who am I? I am Talinelin. Stone's new. Herald of the Almighty, the desolation has come. Oh God, it has come, and I have failed. He stumbled forward, hitting the rocky ground, shard blades clattering down behind him. It did not vanish. I feel like I constantly need to go check the Final Empire there to be like, what was the bad guy's name? It was Ruin, wasn't it? Ruin. Ruin feels like right. And now this time, Odium is a problem. And now I guess I'm going to go see whatever is going on in Warbreaker. I don't even know what Warbreaker is about. I honestly like don't want to know. I just want to go in blind because that's fun. It's like the only book I'm kind of going in blind, not completely, but somewhat. And yesterday I finished King of Pride, but that's not related to this at all. And I think that's it. That is all I have to say about The Way of Kings. This was fun. I hadn't actually, like, I filmed a couple of videos the last few months, but I just scrapped them and went like, nah, this is not good enough. And you know what? This time I'm just going to go with it and not worry too much about being a perfectionist. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll vlog Warbreaker. Oh, I'll vlog Warbreaker. Maybe. Let's see. See you when I see you. See you when I see you.